Hello legends, in this video I'm going to be showing you how to build an MCP agent with an n8n. So if I click into here and I zoom into the prompt, at a high level we just have some very basic instructions. So the default you are a helpful assistant. Then I've integrated 3 MCP tools, so Airbnb, Firecrawl and Brave. So over here I'm explaining exactly when to use each one. And then for this part I'm basically saying use the tool first to retrieve the list of instructions, and then do the execution run next. So basically you get the instructions for how to interact with the MCP, and then you execute whichever instruction you need depending on the request received. So if I just go into open chat and I say, hi, can you find me some nice accommodation in Melbourne? So we've basically sent that request to the AI, and the AI is now going to this Airbnb tool to receive all the instructions on how to interact with the Airbnb MCP. It sent it back to the AI agent. The AI agent chooses the best instruction, so it might have like 10 different ways to interact with, like searching, booking, whatever. And it would have been like, cool, well, this guy's interested in finding the accommodation, so let's just search for now. So would it like basically inserted into here the search tool. So over here we have a Collins Street apartment, another apartment with a nice view and some other stuff. So if you click this open, it actually is going to give you the direct link to the apartment. And now, for example, I want to find some nice cafes near that Collins Street place. Okay, nice. Can you find me some nice cafes near Collins Street? Which there should be a lot of. So as you can see here, we had the request. We're using the Brave tool to receive all the instructions on how to interact with the Brave tool. And then the AI basically chose the best tool to use, inserted it into this Brave execute function, or this MCP tool, and it's now returning us a list of cafes. So in just a moment, we should have the finalized process response from the AI. As you can see, it's just turning there. And we've got, okay, the best 10 cafes. So Little Collins, BNN. Have I actually been to any of these? Another Broken Egg Cafe? No, none of these. Little Collins. Okay, that's just a street. Or is this the actual cafe? No way, they have that. But this is New York City? Okay, well, it's probably used the wrong location there. But anyway, as you see, the MCP tool is super easy to use. And just to give you like a run over, so there's going to be a lot of YouTube videos now, heaps of them that are actually out that explain MCP in a super easy and comprehensive way. But at a high level, let's just say I have this Gmail tool, right? If I wanted to make a Gmail agent, I would have to, let's say the Gmail agent, I wanted to be able to read messages, delete messages or emails, create new drafts, send emails, do all like different actions to Gmail within the inbox. I'd have to create an agent that has, all of these as tools. And then I have to basically plug it into here and configure the agent to use a different tool at, for whichever action it has to be done. Whereas if I was to use the Gmail MCP, basically it would execute this first, and this gives you instructions of all these. Like it's a bit more like sophisticated than what I'm explaining it here, but at a high level, when we're executing the Brave tool, like get instructions call, it's basically returning a list of instructions on, here's all the actions you can take and how to actually use those actions. Then it sends it back to the AI, and the AI is like, okay, well, Bart actually asked me for, search the accommodation in Melbourne. So then it gets the tool most relevant to that query, and it inserts it into this execute function, which is basically now using the actual Brave tool. So at a high level, this is how this works. And now I'm going to delete all of my setup here. I'm going to start from scratch, and I'm going to show you exactly the steps that you need to take to install MCP in your user account, and then be able to build MCP agents as well. So let me just delete everything and start again. Okay, so the first thing I want to start with is, if we look at this is actually an MCP node. This is not a node that's offered by n8n, so you actually have to go and install a community node in order to use this. Now, you can only do this on self-hosted instances of n8n, which is, I've actually got mine self-hosted, so I can follow these instructions, but if you're not doing self-hosted, this will not work for you. So if I go across to Overview, I'm going to go to the bottom over here and click on Settings, and I'm going to flick across to Community Nodes. So right now, in my workflow, I have it installed, but I just deleted the node, so I'm not able to do anything. So I'm going to actually start from scratch with you guys and install everything from the get-go. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're actually going to install this n8n package. So this is created by a person whose channel on YouTube is called Nerding.io. This guy is totally undercover. He's got like lots of really good videos, does a lot of really cool stuff in his videos, but he's got like very low subscribers, unfortunately, but this guy's a genius. So he created this MCP client node for n8n, which is, if you're watching YouTube videos now for n8n, for people using MCP, everyone is using this guy's node that he created. So if you're here, show him some love. His video is released 2 days ago. It's only got 450 views compared to some of the other guys that are actually like creating tools with his node. So like this guy is a guy that we should be thanking. Anyway, so what we need to do is, I'm going to have all the links in my description of the video, but we just need to click on this name, we're going to copy it, go into our community section and go here. Make sure we click yes, we understand, and then we're going to install this node, and that's going to give us access to that node that we saw just before in the workflow. If like before you even install this, if you want to check for yourself, just go in and then go into your search for the tools that you want to add and just type in MCP and nothing will come up. But after you install this, it's going to basically install that n8n package from GitHub, and you're going to have access to actually using MCP. So now if I go back to settings and I'm going to create a new workflow, and let's just call this new agent or new MCP agent, and let's say my first step here is going to be chat trigger. Awesome. I'm going to leave it as it is. My next one's going to be an advanced AI agent. Let's leave it as it is for now. And now start zooming in. We're going to need our LLM, so I'm going to be using OpenAI. There we go. I've got my credentials already authenticated, so I'm just going to leave it there to the side. And now for tools, we're going to be using MCP. So we've got two different tools that we can use. We've got the MCP, okay, it's not actually showing up here because I'm clicked into the agent, but there's an MCP agent tool and then a regular MCP tool. So if I click this, it's plugged into the agent, but just to show you the distinction here, now I'm just onto the canvas, I'm not actually within the agent. If I click MCP, we've got two. So we've got the MCP client tool and then the regular MCP tool. So the regular MCP tool, it just sits on the canvas. And there's one more, like now we have to change a configuration within our actual deployment file. So let's say, for example, you deployed yours on Docker on DigitalOcean, which is what I did. We have to go inside there and change a setting. But basically you have two different types of tools, just like if you were to use HTTP, you have a regular HTTP request tool that's on the canvas. And if you click on this little tools icon here, and you do HTTP, you have the request tool as well. So it's actually different between them, and the configuration is slightly different for the HTTP tool, but that's not the point of this video. So I'm going to delete all these things. This right now, without doing the additional change, you can actually use this on a canvas right now. But we want to be able to access these MCP tools within the agent environment. So we have to just add one more setting. Now, if I go across to this n8n into Nerding.io's GitHub repo, I'm going to scroll down. We've got a bunch of different instructions which you can go through on how to set this up, how to actually install different MCP servers. I've also got another GitHub repository that's going to show you a bunch of different MCP servers where you can just like pick and choose whatever you want. But if I scroll down a little bit more, the instructions on how to install, like which variable to change, are here. So if you want to use it as an agent tool, which is where it's connected to the AI, where it's plugged into here, this specific configuration, you must do this adjustment to your deployment. So you've got a couple different styles of deployments here, and I am using Docker, and I've got mine on DigitalOcean. So we have to go to our docker compose.yml file, and we have to add this as an environment variable. So I've got mine already installed there, but I'm going to run you through the steps, exactly what I had to do to get mine up and running. So I'm across in in DigitalOcean, and I'm going to scroll. Where are we? I'm in my project. I'm going to go into these three bullet points, these three dots. I'm going to go access console, and then I am going to go launch droplet console. So now from here, I'm able to access like the configuration file from my actual n8n deployment. And the first thing that I want to do is, and I think the steps that I'm going to be showing you should be broad enough for you to just copy and paste these exact commands into your own into your actual file here as well to be able to do this as well. Because when you install this, maybe the naming that you use for your like configurations is a little bit different. So this should be good, like a universal instructions. So I've run this first command, which is trying to find the location of the folder that contains my Docker Compose YML file, because we have to basically plug into there in order to make the changes. So it's located in this n8n-docker-caddy file. So I'm going to go cd, which is now going to get me into that folder. I'm going to go n8n-docker-caddy. I'm going to hit enter. Awesome. So we're in there, and now I'm going to run this command, which is going to open up our configuration. So actually, I've already got mine added over here. As you can see in the environment section, I've got n8n community package, which is the exact same command that we had here, or the exact same variable that we had here. All right, and now back here, the way that you can actually add this in is like you can't really click onto this section and then add the new variable in. Your cursor is starting from the top, so you have to use your down and right hand side arrow to essentially go all the way into your environment section. I went a little bit too far. Go to the very end. Went too far again, goodness me. I'm going to hit enter, Then I'm going to copy this. So I'm going to go boom, copy this, and back in here, I'm going to paste it. Let me just backspace to neaten this up. Go all the way to the front, and I'm just going to align that little dash with the top dashes. So I'm going to go here and just keep pressing space until I've lined it up. But as you can see, I already have mine here, so I'm just going to backspace this because I don't need to do it again. But this is exactly how you would do this with this deployment. Okay, now that we have this added over here, our next step is to save this file and then exit out of this file. So we're going to go Control and X. And Control and X is basically trying to make us exit. And now we're prompted, do we want to save our changes? And yes, we want to save the changes. So we're just going to go capital Y. And now we're going to hit enter to save. And now we've saved our file and we're back in this view. And now we actually have to restart our entire instance. So we're going to run this command. We're going to go sudo docker compose down. Let's hit enter. And this is basically the process of us restarting this entire, I think it's a container. And then the next command to restart it, so like we've spun it down, now we're spinning it back up, is this. And we've basically restarted and reset everything. So I'm going to close this, go back into here, and we'll have to just refresh this. Reload that. Okay, I'm not going to have anything saved. I'll just start again. And now we're going to be able to actually use that as well. So guys, you have to do that change if yours is a little bit different to mine. If you're not using DigitalOcean and Docker like that, you got to figure out your workflow because you will not be able to use it as an agent tool. You just keep getting errors on the bottom right-hand side of your screen saying, hey, you know, it's not working, you can't use this. So we're going to be doing the chat trigger. Let's click that. Then we had AI agent just here, and AI agent. Awesome. Then we wanted to use our chat model, which is this. We're just going to leave it exactly as it is. And now we have MCP. So now we're going to get into the fun stuff. So we're going to be using MCP tool. Let's add that into here. And now we actually have to find some MCP tools to plug into. Okay, so this is another GitHub repo that I'm going to be sharing. And basically, this is a library of all different MCP integrations that you can run with n8n. This is not exclusive just to n8n. This is actually just in general the list of MCP connections and integrations people have made. But as you can see at the start of this video, we had the Brave Search MCP. So this is for web and local search using Brave Search's API. So we're going to be getting this. So let's click this open. And now we have some instructions on how to set this up. Now, once again, you can go back to this Nerding.io's GitHub repo, and you can see his comprehensive instructions on how to do it. And better yet, go to his actual video and watch how he's done this. But I will just show you a high-level walkthrough of how to set this up. So basically, we can integrate with this MCP, but we need to install it. We need to install the configuration into our system. So over here, if I go MCP client tool, and I'm going to go create a new credential. We have two different types of connections that we can create. For now, we're just going to be using completely this command line stdio connection type. So we have to fill in our command, our arguments, and the environments. The environments is like the environment variable file where you're putting your API keys. So going across to here, we're going to be using this npx. So we have the npx command. We're going to paste the npx command into here. We now have two different types of arguments to include. So I'm going to copy this long one, but we also have this little one over here, which is -y. And I'm going to put -y first. I'm going to put a space to separate the arguments. And I'm going to go Control V on this. And then I'm going to go back into these settings, and I see this Brave API key. So just be mindful when you're looking at this, in your environment variables, you don't typically write your environment API keys like this. If I just zoom in, you can see it. You don't typically write it like quotation marks. This is a colon, and then the other quotation marks like this. You're actually just going to write it. Let me just copy this a bit more directly. So I'm going to go into here, Control V. I'm going to show you exactly how it looks. And then you're going to put the equal sign. And then I'm going to go across to, what is this, Brave, and get my API key. So I've got a Brave account, and I'm going to just copy this API key. Is it copied? I think it is. And I'm going to paste it into here. And now I have this configuration ready. I'm just going to change this to be MCP Brave. Hit enter. I'm going to hit save on this, and now I actually have this installed and configured for my tool to use it over here. So I'm going to go Brave tool, just so I know what it is for myself. And I'm just going to say, let me just run this and say, what tools are available? So we should be actually tapping into here to find the tools. And if everything was successful, our configuration was successful, we'll be able to get basically a response of all the tools, like the different ways we can interact with the Brave MCP. Okay, so we have, really cool, we have web search. It defines the description, the parameters for us to use. We have okay, local search and the parameter. So we got two different types of ways we can interact with the Brave MCP tool. So now our second item that we need to create here is, boom, we're going to go MCP. Same thing again, MCP tool. Let me just click this. And now what we want to do is execute tool. So the first action was just list all the tools that we can possibly use. And now we have the execute tool. So it's the same thing. I've got MCP Brave already chosen here. I'm just going to go Brave execute. I'm going to rename. And now there's a basically, we're going to be using AI to choose the tool dynamically for us. So I've got this expression over here that I'm going to be inserting directly into these instructions. But the tool name is essentially what we had returned from here. Oops, what we had returned from here, we had two different tools. We have brave underscore local underscore search, or we had brave underscore web underscore search. So all we're doing is basically saying, hey AI, you have the capacity to choose the correct tool for our needs. So back in these settings, I basically done that over here. So I've got from AI, I've defined tool and the tool that was, the selected tool to use. So we're going to be calling the appropriate name. And then over here, I'm going to click this and I'm going to let the AI automatically define the tool parameters that it needs in order to complete that search. So if I just n8n things up over here, we've got this. And just for like good measure, I'm going to go into this option here. I'm going to create a system message. And now I'm going to keep it very high level, but we have like Brave. So I'm going to say use Brave for web search. You would of course have a much better, I think, a prompt than this. And then the process is to use the tool node first, then the execute node. This is probably not the best way to prompt this up, but this is, I think, more like visually for us to see how this works, the process. So let's try this again, and now let's say, okay, please find me a cafe in Melbourne. So we should, okay, now that we have the tools already saved for this chat session, it might actually execute. Okay, so it didn't have it properly saved, so it's going to find the tools now for this independent session, and it should recall this. Let's give it a couple of seconds and see what it does. Okay, sorry, let me just save this, and I'm going to refresh this screen. Let's run that again. Can you find me a cafe in Melbourne? Okay, let's see how this works. Okay, so it's actually using this Brave execute first. So the instructions, as you can see, they're not good enough. They're not comprehensive enough. So I have to chain something up into here to basically make sure that we're using this search tool first, like search to see which tools are available to us, and then we're actually executing it over here. So let me just stop that, go into here. Make sure to search to list tools first, then execute. Whoops, execute tool when ready. Maybe that changes it. Okay, let's fully refresh this, reset that. Can you find me a cafe in Melbourne? Okay, there we go. So that seems to have made it a little bit better. And now we're going to be executing, the tool search. So we're going to see what are the list of tools that we can use. We find the best tool for our purpose, and now we're going to be plugging it into here. And we should have some responses back. Maybe some cafes. Maybe that Little Collins cafe, but hopefully not from New York City. So let's see what we get returned here in just a second. Top 10 best cafes, Cedars Cafe. Have I been to any of these? The best cafe in Melbourne. Best 10. Okay, so it's got a bunch of different, but that's Melbourne, Florida. Yeah, okay, no big deal. It is what it is. But that's how we install this MCP. So let's do one more together. Back into here in this MCP server's GitHub repo. Let me go back, and then we have, you got a bunch over here. You got heaps that you can actually plug into. You can actually plug into things like Puppeteer for web browsing or scraping, which is cool. This is typically like a package that you would get if you were just using straight code. So to get access to this with an n8n, I think is actually unreal. But you've got Google Drive, Google Maps, a bunch of different actions that you can do. You can do Slack, so you can build like a Slack GPT or a Slack AI agent using this using this MCP, which would actually save you so much hassle because, I haven't looked into this. What do they offer? List channels, Slack post a message. So you can see here, these are all the different interactions. This is what the that first tool that we were calling when we're like, what are the instructions? That's what it's returning. Whoops. That's what this is returning. It's basically returning all the different ways for us to interact with Slack. So we got, list channels, post message, reply to a thread, add a reaction. So instead of actually having to do, have an agent that has all these 8 different steps, like you can see up to here, Slack get user profile, you would just have one MCP tool that just searches for the available tools that we can use. And then it has the execute function right afterwards that just applies the correct tool with the correct parameters and whatever else it needs to do. So that's awesome. This might be another video that I can make, but yeah, you have to build a Slack app, and that's just going to be a little bit too long for us here. But I'm going to find, what was the other one that we had? We had Firecrawl. Okay, so let's go into Firecrawl. Same thing over here. Some of these, like when you're going into here, some of this stuff might be a little bit weirdly formatted. These specific options that I'm choosing are pretty clean and easy to just launch and start. As you can see here, like this is, the command that we had is npx. So if I just, for example, go into here, and I'm just going to go duplicate. Oh, we can't see it on here right now. Let me just go duplicate. Boom. I'm going to find that over here. Let's connect it up. So all I want to do now is go into here, create new credentials, and I've got command, arguments, and environments. So going into here, we have command npx, easy peasy. The npx ones are the ones that I'm using right now. The better I get at MCP, and like the better at like these MCP integrations get, because a lot of this is, I think, community driven right now. But as the actual providers create their own MCP and it gets really more sophisticated, it's going to be a lot better to use. But for arguments, we have that -y, and we have this. So we need to get this. I'm going to copy that. So I'm going to paste -y. Once again, you put a space into here to separate the actual arguments. I'm going to put it into there. And now for environments, same thing. Firecrawl API key, but we are level 2. We know we're not going to copy that exact thing, so that's going to be incorrect for us. I'm going to paste that into here, open up the expression, put the equal sign, and for Firecrawl, I have this API key here. Copy that, and now we're here, and let's hit enter, hit save. Okay, awesome. And let me just rename this. So this is Brave Tool, but this is going to be Firecrawl Tool. Rename, easy peas. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to duplicate this. Now, I really like duplicating this second one because it has that this expression already built in. So it's the exact same expression for all the execute tools, the exact same expression that we're using. So we're using that, and we have the MCP client. Okay, so I didn't name this Firecrawl, so it's going to be a little bit confusing, but I'm just going to save it here. I'm going to go Firecrawl execute, rename, easy peasy, and plug this in. Let's add that as our instructions. Use Firecrawl for web scraping. Okay, that should be fine enough for now. And let's just test this out. Open chat, refresh completely. Yes, thank you very much. Please scrape apple.com. And we should be calling these. Let's see if the credentials that we entered in the configuration is correct as well. So let's just zoom out, see how, I love how these things spin and how this looks and when it's green. Okay, so it worked. We actually had the response here. If we dig into this, we can see our response was all the different tools that we can use. We have Firecrawl Scrape, we have Firecrawl Map, Firecrawl, just Firecrawl, and some other ones over here. So we're now executing the actual, whichever tool it chose for us. And let's see the response. Give it a few more seconds. Oh man, maybe it's going to scrape the entire Apple website. I have no idea. That's going to take us a very long time. Let me just see. Firecrawl execute. Maybe Apple is bad to scrape. But anyway, you see it's working. I'm not going to keep pulling up our time onto this. But there we go. So now we have Brave installed. We have Firecrawl installed as well. The last one that I want to show you is Airbnb. So that was part of our demo as well. So I'm going to go back, and I'm just going to go Control F, Airbnb. Okay, can't do Control F, that's my pointer. But let's find, okay, Airbnb is here. Let's scroll down. So we have Airbnb search, Airbnb listing details. So it's pretty like it's limited in what it can do. And once again, we have our commands over here. So npx. So I'm just going to duplicate this. Same issue as before, we can't look at it. So boom, duplicate, bring it up into here, plug that bad boy in. Let's zoom in. What are we looking at over here? Airbnb tool. Airbnb tool, rename that. Let's go create new credentials, and now we're smarter as well because hey, hang on, we want to be able to see what this is. But I'm going to go MCP and then Airbnb, easy peas. So put the command into there. What's next? We have the -y and we have this. So let's go there. Let's go -y and then this. And for environment variables, we have nothing, which I think we just don't have to actually use anything because we're not actually booking anything or logging into our account. We're just checking, like we're just looking at search results. But for my own testing before, we want to also include this in the arguments, this ignore robots.txt. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go into here. I'm going to go space and then paste that in as well. So now it's 3 separate arguments. So there's actually spaces in between, space there and a space there, but you might not be able to see it. Let's hit save. Created successfully. Awesome. That's what I like to see. And let's go duplicate that bad boy as well. Let's go into here. Airbnb execute. Rename that. Let's choose the Airbnb. And that equation's the same one again. So when we're executing this Airbnb, it should all work for us. So let's open up chat. Let's refresh this. Thank you very much. And just for best practice, let's go into here. But guys, you will not copy what I've written here. You will make yours 1,000 times better. But use Airbnb for searching accommodation. Nice. Thank you. Let's zoom out of here. And let's go find me some nice places in Melbourne, Victoria. Okay, so let's see, did we do it successfully and correctly? Again, we didn't have any environment variables there, so we're just using the standard search API, it seems, when we're searching for this. But let's see if this tool turns green. It does turn green, guys. We did it correctly. And we have Airbnb execute here as well. Let's see what happens. Done and done. Let's see what our results are. Okay, give it a few seconds. Nice. St Kilda Studio. Oh, that's going to be pretty cool. St Kilda. Classic Collins Street. Private room in Melbourne CBD. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, let's look at the St Kilda place. Okay, that's pretty neat. Dang. 4.81, 478 reviews. This is cool. All right, nice. Well, guys, there you go. This is how you install MCP into your n8n AI agent. Yeah, if you want to see more videos on this, feel free to comment below. Please like and subscribe to my channel. Help me grow with this. If there's any other content you want to see, please drop that below. Or if you're a business owner, you want me to build an AI agent out for you, my email, my contact information is going to be in the description of this video. All right, thank you very much, guys, and have a nice day. See ya.